So I'd like to start with this very powerful scene of a ring shout or ring dance in African American culture as depicted in the film Beloved. Our book Black Magic begins describing a scene out of Daughters of the Dust, and we'll also have a look at that. But these depictions help bring to life what IntroChireau is getting at.
Let the children come. Let your mothers hear you laugh. Let the grown men come. Let your wives and your children see you dance. Women, I want you to weep. Just weep for the living, for the dead. Weep.
That first scene from the film Beloved, based on the novel by Toni Morrison, we hear the elder female who is having a sermon out in a safe place where the people have gathered. We hear her say, "Children, let your mothers hear you laugh." And then we hear her say, "Men, let the women and your children see you dance." Now I want you to think about how important those acts, children who can laugh, men who are free to dance. And she goes on to say, "Women, weep. Weep for the living, weep for the dead." So the kind of crucible of experience in which African American slave religion was developed is a crucible in which the children did not get to laugh, or it would have been such a limit, it would have been a blessing to a parent to get to hear it. That men could gather and dance and not be considered a threat for so doing. As we move then into Chireau's Black Magic, start on page 2, where we get her definition of religion. She writes, "This book is about the creations that Black people have woven into their quest for spiritual empowerment and meaning. It is about magic, as that term refers to the beliefs and actions by which human beings interact with an invisible reality. And as surely as there is something kind of spine-chilling about the way men created music through the rhythm of legs that labored, and that literally it is just the stomping of feet and the clapping of hands that creates a kind of magical, powerful, compelling aura. That's the kind of magic that we are talking about. People who can make space become sacred through their labor." Quote, "But it is also about religion, which may be defined as a viable system of ideas and activities by which humans mediate the sacred realm." Now, she's going to pick up on Charles Long in just one more page, but there you go. As readers, I hope you're identifying that. I hope you pick that out. there is IntroChireau's definition of what religion will mean for her purposes in the book. It may be defined as a viable system of ideas and activities by which humans mediate the sacred realm. Activities, the central preacher figure in that beloved quote clip is able through her actions to literally identify what is of ultimate significance. Children laugh, men dance, women weep. These are the issues that are of ultimate importance regarding our significance as a group of people who've gathered to make this circle in the woods a sacred reality for our people. So, will that work with Long? I think it does. I clearly just gave you an example where I integrate her definition with Long's definition. Page 3, top of page 3, she is describing then the line between magic and religion. And she says individuals may utilize the rhetoric of miracle to characterize this kind of spiritual efficacy, or they may adopt a lexicon that is associated with magic. So a person might describe, if they're using that language of miracle, that's the part of a religious rhetoric, a religious discourse, where miracles are those interventions of the sacred into the everyday, a kind of power arriving that is redemptive, saving. And she says they might use the language of miracle. They might develop a lexicon that is associated with magic. So there we go. Conjure, root work, poof. Or they may choose both. Might be somebody who has a miracle one day and who had a little juju the next. A fixed dichotomy, salt and pepper, black and white, right and wrong. A dichotomy is a pair, that are opposed. A fixed dichotomy means the two things have to stay opposed to each other. A fixed dichotomy between these ideas, between miracle and magic, is not always apparent, she says. And goes on then to say something very important about how this division between religion and magic has been figured in the academic study of culture. And she says that when seen from different perspectives, the divisions between religion, what's religious and what's magic, sometimes break down, revealing the arbitrary nature of these categories. So that categories that seem clear and self-evident begin with closer inspection. We realize that there's actually an arbitrariness to when one is describing something as religious or magical. And she quotes, stated simply, magic is the religion of the other. So if you're saying that this is religion and that is magic, there's a very good chance that part of the issue is that you're describing something, someone, some place that is other. And by other, that word other refers to a psychological distance you maintain between yourself and something different. So the term other has this very big currency in contemporary cultural studies, and it means those people, those places with which you maintain a distance, you draw a line, and once they have a psychological alterity or difference to them, then it's allowing you, if we take a Charles Long approach here, to by drawing a distinction that they are different, then you are creating a world in which your center is the normative, you're of ultimate significance, and the other is of lesser. And that's why their religious practices are not religious practices, they are magic, not religion. So, as soon as these categories are happening, she's saying, This is not about a world where you can simply make these boxes. Rather, this is a world where we as academics are going to look at how are the categories being used and what is the arbitrary nature of when the word religion gets used and the word nature gets used. I'm going to cover one more thing here. She says, she describes then how she's going to lay it out here, how she's going to lay out that difference. Magic is a particular approach or attitude by which humans interact with unseen powers or spiritual forces. Think your wand, think I have the capacity to harness and, interact with unseen powers, spiritual forces. In contrast with religion, so magic in contrast with religion, it is efficacious with its spells, curses, incantations, and formulae. Magic is used for specific personal ends. It operates mechanically, as in, right, just think about that wand, as opposed to prayer, which is communal, devotional, and non-coercive. So she's going to articulate what she sees as the difference here comes out of, does the person feel like they have an efficaciousness? I'm gonna do root work. I'm gonna voodoo you. I'm gonna hoodoo you. I'm gonna conjure you. I have the capacity to harness unseen power and I can work it on you. Versus prayer and the communal, devotional, non-coercive element of practice. So instead of getting a simple dichotomy, magic is one thing, religion is the other, she has instead said, for my purposes in this book, magic will mean that work that people undertake where they understand themselves to be efficacious agents in the administering and controlling of it, whereas religion will be more prayer, devotional, non-coercive, and a sense that the unseen power has more power than you do for harnessing this stuff. I want to conclude with her discussion of vernacular religion, and this is very important phrase. And if you follow the footnote number 4, you're going to get a nice description of vernacular religion coming out of folklore studies. So that if you're doing folk religion, you realize it really doesn't matter what the Vatican says if what people are doing here in a shrine is leaving their crutch behind after experiencing something that they understand is a miraculous cure. There's a whole world of work people are undertaking that does not necessarily have the doctrinal authority or specificity, but the people just keep working the practices. They'll visit the places, they will say the prayers, they will offer the candles. That folk religion called vernacular religion. And then right there on page 4, she quotes Charles Long. He has most strongly advocated an original methodological approach to black religion. That's what I've been saying about him, right? That this is a powerful reorientation of how to study religion. It opens up the book, The Interesting Narrative, in an entirely new way. And she's also invoking him for that original methodological approach. And he asserts that the church is not the only context for the meaning of religion for black people, but that religion means orientation in the ultimate sense, how one comes to term with the ultimate significance of one's place in the world. Now, if you think of that Beloved clip, those are people coming to terms with the ultimate significance of finding oneself born into the middle of a story about enslaved humans. And what does she say? Children, let your mothers hear you laugh.